to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today Around Kansas starts with a look at the Mid-America Air Museum in Liberal, Kansas, the 5th largest aviation museum in the country. Next, we're off to Old Jefferson Town in Oskaloosa, Kansas. This 10-acre park includes period buildings, a bandstand, a native grass prairie, and much more. Then enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with Mound City's National Cemetery. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. Just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Hey, good morning. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas, and hooray, hooray, it's the month of May.
I want to tell you, this friend of mine back home, back in the hills, this is how sad life was back in the hills in the Blue Ridge Mountains. He was like my dad's generation, and he was telling me about all their May Day traditions, or their one May Day tradition. And all the kids would go running from house to house shouting Mayday.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other kids would run out and they would run to another house and shout Mayday. And I'm like, and then what? Well, that was it. Like,
no May baskets, really?
That's all you did. I guess, you know, it wasn't that sad.
Yeah.
That's about the saddest thing I ever heard.
When I was in grade school, we would make little May baskets. They'd be like a cone, and then you put a little, staple on a little handle, and then you put candy and maybe some dandelions or some sort of flower in that. And then actually you went around to your friends' houses and you hung them on the door, rang the bell, and ran.
See, that's how they did things in the 19th century, kids. That's what they did back then.
Yeah.
We had grade school, I think I actually do recall a maypole celebration one time, but I must have been first grade. I don't remember it after that. Well, we may just be knocking on your door for May Day, but I ain't leaving a basket.
As you can see, we're so happy it's May. We're outside at the Dillon house today. So if you hear a roaring, it's not lions, it's probably the wind.
Or bears.
Well,
or
there
bears.
are lions behind us.
Yeah,
but
tigers, bears.
yeah. So anyway, and of course the Dillon house is where we do this show, and if you're not familiar with it, it's right across from the state capitol. It's right over there. And so when you're in Topeka and you're going to go to the capitol, why also come by and take a look at the historic Dillon house.
Because if you've got a great event, this would be the place to hold it.
Absolutely.
It's gorgeous. And of course they kicked us out today because they have events going on, so that's why we're stuck
That's
outside.
the other reason we're outside
That's why
today.
we're outside getting a tan today.
I said, go away.
Yeah, get out, get out.
So we're out in front of the Dillon house. So we do have some stories today other than our goings on about the month of May.
Well, one of the things, obviously with May, that means, summer's just around the corner and people are going to be traveling a lot. And so a lot of attractions around the state are opening or they've just opened for the season. So we'll be sharing a lot of those with you. And if you've got something, share it on our Facebook page. If you've got something going on or your museum's just opened, let us know and we'll let everybody else know.
Yeah. Another thing in May is graduations. I think proms are pretty much in April, but then the graduations start and all that. And I have my youngest granddaughter will be graduating from Washburn Rural this year.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So,
that's very exciting. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations to all of you graduates, whether it's high school, middle school, college. Go for it.
That's right. Go for it.
Welcome to Kansas.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Here's another gardening tip with Annette Jackson from Jackson's Greenhouse.
If you don't have a garden, you can still enjoy fresh vegetables by growing them in containers. Let Jackson's help you select the correct plants for your pots. Use Fertilome's Ultimate Potting Mix. Place pots in the sun and feed them weekly with Fertilome's water-soluble fertilizer. Water thoroughly when dry and watch your garden grow.
Our vegetable plants are homegrown, healthy, and ready to grow.
Jackson's Greenhouse has what you need today.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life. I think we're back.
I think we're back.
So, a beautiful day here in front of the Dillon House. So.
And of course, a great time to travel. And while you're checking off the things on your Kansas bucket list, make sure you get out to Liberal to the Mid-America Air Museum. And of course, we've got some wind here today, and we got some big sky in Kansas, and it's no mistake that people love the air in Kansas. I mean, I remember honestly the first time I went to Amelia Earhart's home in Atchison, and standing there on that bluff, I thought, you know, if you just let go, the wind would sweep you up anyway. And there's so many times I think that, whether it's on the high plains or one of the bluffs or just out in the middle of the Flint Hills when the wind gets up, just wherever it's at, it's like some days the wind's going to pick you up whether you want to go or not.
Okay, story. As you know, ad nauseum, I talk about working for Alf Landon and his radio stations, and he owned a radio station also in Liberal and one in Dodge City. And Bob Fromey and I would fly out to those stations, and Ernie Mosier was our pilot. Rest in peace, Ernie. He was one heck of a pilot. And anyway, one time he said, you know, if we take off in Topeka and fly to Liberal and we don't adjust the altimeter and I fly at 3,700 feet, we'll land.
Wow.
Either
Isn't
that or
cool?
crash. Because you're 3,500 feet from Topeka to western Kansas. So
I posted a picture of I think it was just looking out the door at Fort Wallace, and I posted it, you know, and it's not flat, but it's not the mountains either. And I sent that to my folks back home, and I said, okay, this is the same altitude as Fancy Gap Mountain, which is, and they're like, you're kidding. And I'm like, no. So let's take a look at the Mid-America Air Museum out on the high plains of Kansas. Liberal was once home to a major Beech aircraft manufacturing facility and was a B-24 Liberator pilot training base during World War II. The Mid-America Air Museum was established to help preserve a proud local and national aviation heritage. The late Colonel Tom Thomas Jr. donated his personal collection of over 50 planes to the museum. The Mid-America is the largest aviation museum in Kansas and the 5th largest in the nation. It is home to more than 105 aircraft and serves as an interactive educational resource for all visitors. In addition to its engaging collection of historically significant aircraft and related artifacts, the museum interprets aviation history through its public programs. Self-guided tours are available, but guides are there for the benefit of school, church, corporate, and other tour groups. Special rates are available for groups of 10 or more and must be booked in advance. For visitors with mobility issues, there are 2 electric carts available. So be sure you put the Liberal Air Museum, the Mid-America Air Museum, on your Kansas bucket list. Support Kansas agriculture education with an AgriTag. Agri-tags are available anytime at your county treasurer. They look great on cars and trucks. For more information, go online to ksagclassroom.org.
Lecompton. The name was splashed across newspapers throughout America and Europe. It was debated in the halls of Congress. Lecompton interprets its unique territorial history with 2 museums and other sites. Events throughout the year celebrate history and community.
The 160th anniversary of the Battle of Fort Titus, June 18th, 2 p.m. Reenactors welcome. Call 785-887-6148 for more information.
Spend the day in historic Lecompton, shopping, eating, savoring the rich history.
When your living depends on agriculture, you can depend on KFRM 550 AM. If you're in the southwest three-fourths of Kansas or the northern half of Oklahoma, catch us at 550 AM on the radio dial. But if that isn't you, listen on your cell phone at TuneIn Radio or on your computer at KFRM.com. We promise to keep you informed, entertained, and company as you go through your day. KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains. We would like to join your management team.
I think it really extends your home out to the outdoors, and Mark always had kind of a vision of what he wanted to do with the yard, and so he envisioned this kind of outdoor area, the waterfall and things. But when Blueville came in, they had some really good ideas of how to place it and how to do different things that really enhanced the project. So
yeah, over the years we've grown to really enjoy our outdoor living space and developed a great working relationship with Blueville.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
So I love obviously old places, and one of my favorites ever since I moved to Kansas has been Old Jefferson Town at Oskaloosa, and I have taken several tours up there, and it's just so picturesque. It's a beautiful place to go and have a picnic. I hope they allow picnics, because I had one there right there in the park in Oskaloosa, but it's just so pretty.
It is.
So have you been up there lately?
Not lately, but I've been there since they improved Highway 59, so now you can actually get there.
Roads are important, people.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get around Kansas without roads.
Now, you know, James Reynolds, who plays Abe Carver on Days of Our Lives and has since, I believe, 1983, is from Oskaloosa.
We did a feature on him.
Yes,
so
we
look
did.
back on our archives and find that wonderful feature that Frank did. That was a really nice story, really nice segment.
It was. And of course, James did a lot of course, we know him as Jim, but now that he's in Hollywood,
A big deal.
He's James.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, Jim. But anyway, we did a lot of shows together with the Dale Easton Players at Apple Valley Farm.
Sure.
And then, of course, he was down at the Playhouse at Lake Pomona as well. He was the captain of the boat that went out. So anyway.
Wow, lots of Oskaloosa connections, and of course, right across from the State House, John Stewart Curry. The John Stewart Curry home is in Old Jefferson Town at Oskaloosa. They moved that. He was actually born on the Hickory Point battlefield, a battlefield from Bleeding, Kansas, and they moved his house in, and it's part of it. It's got great exhibits. So yeah, let's take a look.
I get to tell you the story. The Jefferson County Historical Society has moved structures from around the country to Old Jefferson Town in Oskaloosa, Kansas, a nearly 10-acre park that includes a blacksmith, jail, general store, chapel, schoolhouse, Victorian home, and the John Stewart Curry Boyhood Home and Museum. Also housed at Old Jefferson Town are the Genealogical Research Building, a bandstand, and a native grass prairie. Plans for this village of yesteryear began in 1967 when the Jefferson County Historical Society accepted a gift of 4.5 acres from Bill and Betty Leach. The first buildings were moved to the site in 1970. Among the features unique to Old Jefferson Town are the 1875 bowstring bridge, which was manufactured by the King Bridge Manufactory in Cleveland, Ohio. It originally crossed Rock Creek north of Meriden. In the 1950s, the bridge was moved near Valley Falls, and in 1975, the bridge was finally moved to Old Jefferson Town. The Matt Fraser Wind Wagon sculpture illustrates the story of Samuel Peppard, a local blacksmith and wagon maker who was looking for adventure in 1860. He built a wagon with a mast and sail to take him to the gold fields in Colorado. Oskaloosa residents dubbed the wagon Peppard's Valley. Peppard and others started for Pikes Peak and made it within 100 miles of Denver before their wagon was broken apart by a whirlwind. The John Stuart Curry Boyhood Home and Museum is devoted to the artist John Stuart Curry, best known for the murals he painted in the Kansas State House. Curry's 1900s boyhood home was moved from a few miles outside of town to these grounds in 1990. The house features Curry family memorabilia, some of the sketches and ink drawings, and one original painting. Old Jefferson Town. See it.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery. And so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results with stem cell injections, but at about 3 to 3.5 months, I started to feel better. I started to have less pain and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Years ago, we had a bad fire here at the ranch when our daughter was little. We lost an entire machine shed, and it was a traumatic experience for her. I wrote this poem about that day. It's titled, You Have to Cowboy Up. Daddy, what do we do? My little girl said as we stared at the burning remains of our shed. The machine shed on our ranch had just gone up in flames with the tractors and trailers and wagons it contained. I looked at my daughter as she cradled her scared pup and said, at times like these, you have to cowboy up. You have to be strong. You have to be tough. You can't let hard times get you down facing this stuff. When you get bucked off, pick yourself up off the ground and get back on that horse to try another round. And if life gives you lemons, you just can't be afraid. Turn a negative into a positive and make some lemonade. Yes, we've lost our old machine shed, but that opens up some space. We'll be able to rebuild something better in its place. But Daddy, my daughter said with tear-filled eyes, think of all the work you did on those things inside. Yes, I said as I thought of what we faced. It is a loss, and there are things that just can't be replaced. But things are still just things. They're not the people that we love. We still have many blessings, thanks to the good Lord up above. So I held my daughter close as I drained my coffee cup and said, be brave, my little one. You have to cowboy up. Happy trails.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. A high-energy, drought-tolerant crop, sorghum only requires 6 inches of water to produce the first bushel. And with its wide uses and easy adaptation, sorghum proves to be a truly indispensable crop. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. As fourth-generation farmers themselves, they understand the importance of using the correct products on every acre. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag offers quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today at 800-760-4964 or find us online at HeinenBrothersAg.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. Go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. We're back. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a wasp over there, so I hope it flies on by.
Doggone it. Every season has its challenges, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, you get the warm and, you know, everything's open and people are out having fun, and then you got the doggone bees and the snakes and the, you know, all the creepy crawly things and buzzing things and...
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So,
it's not Shangri-La.
So, and remember, I guess once you get into May, then you can do away with your dandelions. But early in the spring, you don't do away with your dandelions, because that's the first source of pollen for the bees. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
I didn't know that till a couple of weeks ago.
You know, I strongly suspect that one of these days they'll discover that dandelions are probably the most valuable plant on earth, that it'll have some miraculous medicinal quality, and we've been trying to eradicate it as hard as we could go, you know. And
well, you can eat the leaves, you can put them in a salad,
you can eat the blooms,
and you can make dandelion wine.
Yeah.
And I mean,
oh yeah, that's a redeeming
they're great stuff
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever taken the top off though and then tasted that white milky stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's nasty.
Yeah, and you can paint with them. You know, they used to take the kids out in grade school and just find whatever you could, like grass, dandelion blooms, dirt, you know, and do pictures, and you would learn about the pigment in it, you know, and all that, which was really cool.
So, anyway, we were off on dandelions and all that, but I know you want to talk about, we've got Memorial Day coming up, so
right.
let's
of course,
jump over to that.
Memorial Day, obviously at the end of the month, is a big deal, and the Ride for the Fallen, of course, will happen again this year, and we're just so pleased to be supportive of Melissa Jarboe and the Military Veterans Project and all the great things they do. Kansas, as I've talked about many times, has a long tradition of veterans and service to our country, and we've got several national cemeteries, and so we want to talk about one of those each week this month, and we're going to start with Mound City. And Mound City, of course, small town in Lynn County, got a beautiful small, it's about the size of this yard, a little veteran cemetery, and it's just the most picturesque, historic spot. Started with men who were killed in action at the Battle of Mine Creek, and it's just a beautiful spot. So we strongly encourage you to go visit at least one of those, you know, during the month. If you can't do it on Memorial Weekend, if you're out of town or whatever, sometime during the month, you know, take the kids especially so that they figure out what it's all about. Let's take a look. The first internments were the remains of 30 Union soldiers killed in the Battle of Mine Creek, and thus the corner of Woodland Cemetery in Mound City was set aside for soldiers. The deed for the soldiers' lot, measuring only 48 by 158 feet, was not officially transferred until 1874. More than a decade later, the remains of other Union and unknown soldiers buried elsewhere in Lynn County were reinterred there. In 1940, laborers of the Works Progress Administration, the WPA, a Depression-era work relief program, erected an enclosing stone wall and a post and chain fence around the perimeter of the soldiers' lot. In 1889, the U.S. erected the Union Soldiers Monument, an infantryman carved in granite to honor the 80 Civil War soldiers who rest here. The stone soldier holds his musket and looks to the east. There is an artillery monument as well. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, dozens of soldiers from subsequent wars also rest in this quiet corner of the city cemetery set aside for heroes. One of the more famous burials is Colonel James Montgomery, one of the leading figures in the struggle of Bleeding Kansas and the Civil War.
Okay, we have to go.
Happy May Day.
Yeah, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere
Around Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy Stream. We're the best part of Dorothy Stream.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamandkansas.com.